Welcome to Watercolor Lessons with Kathy. I'm Kathy Nichols, and I'm a lifelong artist, painter, and teacher. I help students of all ages tap into their creativity with watercolor. Watercolor is a great way to express yourself, and it's easy to get started and fun to do. My watercolor lessons are designed for beginners of all ages. No theory and not too technical. Just follow along with me. I hope you join me to learn how to paint with watercolor. I can't wait to see your paintings. Welcome to the first lesson in our dog series. Today, we'll paint a wire Fox Terrier named Sparky. Sparky was owned by my husband's uncle and had all kinds of quirky, positive energy. He could jump high, run fast, and even climb into trees. We'll use 3 brushes, 6 paints, and 6 techniques. To better enjoy the lesson, you may wish to use the same paints and materials as I do. Watch my video, Best Materials for Watercolor Beginners, to see where to get them. The link to the video is in the description and in the corner of the screen. Be sure to check below for more useful information and links. Let's have some fun and paint. Let's get started. Let's take our spray bottle. Spray your pans of paint, some water in our palette. So in this lesson, we do use a template, and here is my template of the terrier. And let's place it almost in the middle, a little bit lower. And use our liner brush, load it with the yellow ochre, and trace our template. There we go. Now let's take some of this yellow ochre color and put some on the ears here. Spread some of that color down to make the shape of the ear. There's one ear, and then on the other side. Now, this dog has this yellow, almost to brown, kind of a toffee color on his face. And there's a white spot in the middle. So let's carry that color down on the face. And then we'll come to where the eye is. And let's leave that blank. And then follow and do that on this other side of the face. Now, this color is carried further down. So you want to add some of that color underneath the eye here and a little bit on below that. And then come back and do that on the other side there. Now this line right here is kind of dark, so I want to lighten that. So I'm wetting my paintbrush and thinning it. Bring that line down. And carrying some of that color onto the paw. And let's go ahead and wet our brush and lighten the lines along here. Okay. And let's do a little bit of lightening on the tail here. Needs it right here on this. Carry that color down in the paw. Okay. So this dog has a blue collar. Go ahead and clean your brush. And we will use the intense blue to do the collar. And the collar is about right here. Okay, there's the collar. Now, this terrier has a dark spot on the back. It's a brown color. So we'll use our mixture that we've used in previous lessons, or if this is your first time, we'll make a brown with using our We'll use this color by mixing burnt umber and ultramarine. And it's about right here where the tail is. Some of it comes up by the collar and a spot by the leg. Like so. Okay. And you can also use this color to create some shadows. Now this dog has kind of fluffy hair, and I will put some of it a little bit along here and some on the leg. And if it's too dark, you can lighten it with your water. And on the paw here, I'm going to add some little darkness for the nails. And then up here is a shadow. And then carry it back down along the other leg. And then come on the other side here. And carry it up towards the collar. And a little bit on the face here. Come to the other side. And add some more of that light brown shadow. Like so. Okay. Now, the color here is a little darker. So let's make more of a definition where the ear is flopping over. So we will be using the color yellow ochre and add a touch of burnt sienna to make it more of a brownish color. And let's go up here. Where the ear is starting to flop. And then we have our space where the eye will be. And there's some scraggly little hairs there. And let's go below. There's some on the side of the face of the dog. Now let's continue on the other side. No, and when you're doing this, we're not drawing every little hair. We want to make the impression. Okay. Now let's use some of this color that we have on our paintbrush and put a little more on the paw down here. Again, if you think it's too strong, you can dilute it with some water, which I'm doing here. And spreading it a little more. Okay. Now let's work on the eyes. The eyes on this dog are very dark, so we'll be using our mixture of burnt umber and ultramarine blue again. It's about right here. That looks a little too blue to me, so I'm going to add some more of the brown color to my mixture. Here, some more brown. It's too blue. That's better. And then make a circle. Make a circle for the eye. Then come to the other side. and do the same thing. Now we want to come down below that to make the nose. So the nose is about right here, and it curves. And I'm leaving a little white spot there. And then there's a line below, and then you can see the where the mouth is. Like that. Now with this same color, let's put some of it right here on the crease, because there's a shadow where his ear flops down. That needs to be a little softened so it's not so blunt. And you can wet your brush if it's too much of a spot and reduce it. And that's what I'm doing here. Like so. Now let's go to the other side. I think this is a little bit light here, so I want to add some more of the yellow ochre and a bit of the burnt sienna. And darken just some spots to make some contrast there. A little bit below the eye there, like so. Put a few more over here. Okay, I want to stop and dry this because I'd like to add a little more color on the ears. And sometimes when watercolor is too wet, the colors will spread, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to give it a quick dry. You may want to do that also. Okay. Now I have a little bit of the paint right here, so I'm going to use that. It was looking a little flat, and that gives it a little more texture. Now I'm going on the other side of the ear. Give it some depth, like that. Now the ears don't look so flat. And then carry some of the color a little bit here. Has that a lot of little stray hairs that kind of go wild. Okay. Now, this area I'd like to make a little darker and carry some of the brown with some of that kind of the illusion of shadow on the tail. So again, using a mixture of burnt umber and ultramarine blue. Need to make a little more mixture. There we go. And now that it's dry, the paint won't run. I'm going to make some little darker spots on the dog. Just watering it down a little bit. And come on the tail here. Make some of those straggly hairs. Like that. And then stop for a moment and step back and determine if you need to add some more shadows. And you know, one thing with watercolor is that it's easy to add too much. So that's why it's good to stop and even take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to look at your picture to determine it. Because you can always go back to it by just reactivating your paints with water. So I think overall this looks, I'm happy with it. I like my happy little dog. Now this dog will be sitting on some grass, so we are going to put some background. So let's stop, and we will be switching our brush. We will be using our mop to start with. Now, there's two theories and methods, and when I have a subject already painted on the paper, I like to use my mop brush and create the white paper around it wet versus using the spray bottle, because then I won't disturb that image that I have already painted on the paper. So wet your mop and start at the top and wet the paper. Go around the dog. Now we will be starting to paint at the top, and at the top we want to have it a light green, so we will be using sap green with some yellow, and we'll use a cadmium, we'll use a lemon yellow because we want it to be the color of a nice spring bright green. And then as we get further down, we'll darken that. So if you need to, I'm cleaning my little palette here. If you need to do that, go ahead. And putting some lemon yellow there with some of the sap green. And starting at the top, working my way down. Okay, let's switch to our round with pointed tip brush and use just more of the sap green here. And we're going to start a little behind the dog's tail and just kind of put some blades of grass. And then come further down, and we're going to let the paint run. Then come down where the dog is, and more of the green color. And right between his legs, you want to put quite a bit of that green. And we're going to go back there and create a shadow. But first, let's bring some of the grass on the other side. Like so. Now I notice my watercolor, sometimes when you are doing these washes, they'll pull. And it's pulling there a little bit. I'm just going to stop it from pulling and spread the paint a little bit like that. Okay, let's give it a dry before we proceed. Okay, now as I am looking at my painting, I see a couple things here. The collar there needs a little more definition and some shadows here, and then we'll add another layer of green where we have the light color here, a medium green, and now we need a darker green. So let's start with doing the collar. And we'll using the ultramarine blue here. And I'm using the round with pointed tip brush, and this is starting out strong, and that's okay. I want it that way, just a little more like that, like so. And then right here, there's more of a shadow underneath the belly. So again, we'll use our mixture of burnt umber and ultramarine blue. Just a tad. Carry it down there. That's a little part there. Again, if you don't like it, you kind of tab it out a little bit. And I think I need to do that there. And then spread this a little bit more. Okay, so now let's add that dark green. So use our sap green here. And let's add burnt umber. I'm going to get more of an olive dark green. And let's put some of that color where the paws are. And some stray grasses over here. And then in between his belly. And some a little above here. Not too much, just a few strands. And let's lighten this a little here. Need to wet my brush a little bit here. And we want to, that hard line there, you can add some water to draw it out. Now, if you end up taking too much of the color away, you can just go back and add a little. I think I just want to add a little so it might kind of blend better. So it's more of a subtle shadow, not a dark one. Like that. I want to just soften some of these here, and I'm just adding water on it to do that. I think I want to just add a little bit here of the green. The paw looks lost. And again, it's good to kind of stop from what you're doing. Take a moment and look at your picture. And on these paws, I see that they're missing the nail. And we are going to give it a quick dry before we add that, because there's some wet paint around that and it will run, and I don't want that to happen. So staying with the round with pointed tip brush, let's use the color of the yellow ochre. And some burnt sienna. I want that caramel color. Okay. And just a couple spots there so you can see the nails like that. And put two on the back there like that. Okay, I like my little dog. He's playful, playing on the grass on a spring or summer day. I enjoyed doing this painting, and I hope you did too. Until the next lesson, see ya. I hope you enjoyed painting with me today. I'd love to see photos of your creations. Email them to me at the address on our YouTube About page. To suggest something to paint, let me know in the comments. To give watercolor a try, subscribe to my channel and take a lesson or two. Join me next time when we'll paint another faithful companion. Take care, be safe, and see you soon.